wherein are all right books. And this kitab, singular, or kutab, that's plural. It means a book of ordinances. Whichever significant may be adopted, the meaning of the passage is that all those right directions necessary for what? For the guidance of man. In this book is guidance sure without doubt. And the Quran claims to contain all the good points of other sacred books. And in addition, to supply also their deficiencies. Nor did those to whom the book was given become divided till clear evidence came to them. The division mentioned here is a division into believers and disbelievers. Some accepting the messenger and others rejecting him. And they are enjoined not but to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the message. This is the message that we want to truly embrace with all of our actions and our deeds. It is the saving grace. It is the guidance that will show you where to place your feet along that elevating path through which your upright human nature can ascend to its ultimate perfection. It's a light. Your iman is a light to show you where to place your feet along that elevating path. It is the connection between you and your Lord. Once the connection is broken, the inevitable is a decline. The dunya will swoop you up. We know that. We've come through a lot of things. And alhamdulillah that we're here now and we're moving in the same direction. Those who disbelieve from amongst the people of the book and the idolaters will be in the fire of hell. Not my words, it's what it's in the pages, it's in the book, it's what Allah said. And they are the worst of creatures. Those who believe and do good, they are the best of creatures. And their reward is with their Lord in gardens. Perpetuity. I always get a tongue twister on this word. Perpetuity. Wherein flow rivers, abiding therein forever. Allah is well pleased with them, and they are pleased with him. And that is for him who fears his Lord. In connection with this, and these we're describing those at the highest spiritual stage. And you can read about this in Surah 89, from 27 to 30. And this shows clearly that they were above all worldly motives. And not only joined Islam with the single object of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also that their sincerity was above all reproach to the end. So that God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was pleased with them and made them into his garden. That's the message. But if you look at Surah Al-Zilzal, and إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يوم الذين تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أنهى يوم الذين يسترون الناس تليور أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. This is a very important wake-up call. This is called zilzal, or the shaking, and it hints at the severe shaking which was destined to bring about a transformation. First in Arabia, and later on, this is important, it's a message for all time in the whole world. This shows the connection which speaks of a transformation being brought about in the world by Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. Is one of the earliest revelations. And it's the first ayat. It says when the earth is shaken to its utmost shaking. And the earth brings forth her burdens. And man says, what has befallen her? On that day, she will tell her news. And if thy Lord had revealed to her, the first verse speaks of a violent shaking of the earth. For the significance of zalzala, or shaking, you can read in Surah 22. That such a shaking would take place at the resurrection. And it cannot be denied. Understand? You can't refute this no matter what you do. No matter what you engage yourself in, you can't refute this. And it cannot be denied. And that it took place in Prophet alayhi salam's lifetime is a fact. No fantasy, it's a fact. And this was the shaking which brought about that wonderful transformation in Arabia, and then in the whole world. It's clearly stating to you, yield your will to the divine laws, to the divine will, and keep your inclinations in accordance with what the Prophet brought, alayhi salam, which was what? And then the second ayat speaks of the earth as bringing forth her burdens. And this has been taken as signifying both the bringing forth of the dead and the yielding of hidden treasures. How the earth is bringing forth her hidden treasures of mineral wealth, shows the wonderful knowledge of the future disclosed in the Quran. That these are the preliminaries of a great transformation is the one theme of these earlier revelations. The transformation brought about in the prophet's lifetime was in fact the first stage in the great transformation to be brought about in the whole world, and later on, which we're all headed toward, Akhirah, the hereafter. We're moving in that direction. Read it in Surah 93. The mighty world conflicts of our day and the unimaginable treasures brought forth in these days are in fact portents of what must follow. And this is not to scare you. This is to make you mindful of the reality. This is to put yourself in check. Those things that are leading you into appetites that go unchecked by knowledge, we're surrounded by them. Spasmodic impulsive movement, what you got materially is what's important over the habits of the heart and mind. We're taking a look. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of his mercy, has extended this to you, and this is why you're here today. Alhamdulillah. And man will wonder, cry out, what's wrong with you? What has befallen the earth? And this shows that extraordinary happenings will be witnessed by man in this very life. The earth would tell her news. And that is to say, great secrets, unknown, will be revealed. And his future stressed in Surah 5, as if our Lord had revealed to her. In other words, as revelation discloses things which are unknown to man, so will great secrets unknown be revealed. And maybe there's a deeper reference here, that in the wake of these extraordinary happenings will come a general spiritual awakening, as if God, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has revealed to the earth itself. On that day, men will come forth in sundry bodies, that they may be shown their works. So he who does an atom's weight of good will see it, And he, this is ayat number 8, and he who does an atom's weight of evil will see it. Men will be shown their works in the resurrection by being made to taste of their fruits. But they can also see the good or evil of their works in this life. Good and evil, when practiced on a large scale, bring their rewards or requital in this life as well. So note that the words here are he who does, and those include both the Muslim and the non-Muslim. Even a non-Muslim who does an atom's weight of good will have its reward, and a Muslim who does an atom's weight of evil will be requited for it. That's Allah for forgiveness. So here, the Holy Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, himself has been called, and this is so important because this is a message that we want to convey to our children. Because mizan is needed, balance. We need balance. And he has been called the clear evidence. His life before and after prophethood is presenting a book like the Quran, in spite of living unlettered, is bringing about an extraordinary revolution in the lives of the converts to Islam through education, and the training. And training is educating the people in rational beliefs. These are the things that we got to instill in our children. Get them thinking about this, because a lot of things that are happening in the educational structure now is that they just want you to submit. Just infinite term. But we want to instill rational beliefs, clean and pure forms of worship, excellent morals, and best principles and injunctions for human life, perfect harmony and agreement between his word and deed. This is the character of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. These are the qualities that he carried. His constancy of purpose in respect of his message, in spite of every kind of resistance and opposition. I read a hadith where the Prophet would walk, Islam would walk, and every time he passed this woman's window, she dumped garbage on him. Now you know how we would have handled something like that. We would have been ringing the doorbell. The Prophet, he walked one day and no garbage was dumped on him. So he went to inquire, find out what was up. No garbage today. Anyway, he found out that the woman was in the hospital. She was sick, very sick. He went to visit her. And she embraced Islam. His character. We need that example. We need that example, and this is what we need to instill in our children, those qualities. Just in looking at what's taking place in educational structure, obedience, that's the word. They're not all that concerned about you. Well, if you can regurgitate the information, and it's described as the banking concept of education, where I'm the professor, you're the student. You just intake what I say, and if you can repeat it the way I say it to you, you get a higher grade, get a higher grade. And that, if you read any of Paulo Freire's works, that concept of education is described as the banking concept, and it also says that it's a breeding ground for oppression. Whereas the other concept of education, which is the problem posing concept, see, in the banking concept of education, there's no real teacher-student, student-teacher relationship. It's just that what I say, you repeat it, you get your grade. But in the problem posing concept of education, you have the teacher-student, student-teacher relationship. And they're not just concerned or those priority about your educational, they're concerned about the person, the individual. How are you? How are things? Genuinely concerned, not just snooping. So there's a lot that we have to pass on. And alhamdulillah that we're here, because this is one of the best places you can be on the Friday. And making salat in congregation, it's many, many, many more blessings than making it in congregation than making it alone. I can see Brother Salim here. So, my beloved brothers and sisters, I have one more thing to say, then, inshallah, This is from in connection with Albaina, and it states that the people of the book, they speak about them being, they were divided into countless sects because of different kinds of errors and deviations. It's not that Allah had failed to send clear evidence from himself for their guidance, but the fact that they adopted the wrong way after guidance had come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, they themselves were responsible for their deviation. This is how we check ourselves. For Allah had fulfilled his obligations toward them. Likewise, since their scriptures are no longer pure and their books no longer consist of original and correct teachings, Allah, by sending a messenger of his as a clear evidence with a hallowed book containing sound and pure teachings, has again fulfilled his obligation toward them, so that even if after that they remain divided, they themselves should be responsible for it and should have no excuse left to plead for Allah. And this thing has been stated at many places in the Quran. You read it in Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, Al-Mu'ayyidah, Ashura. Alhamdulillah, surely Allah speaks the truth in this Quran. Dear my beloved brothers and sisters, may Allah continue to guide us. May we continue focus on our Lord. And out of all the things you engage in this life, nothing will be more rewarding than your connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Qad qamatu salah, qad qamatu salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah.